Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that! You're going to jinx us!
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have 2 goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dahna alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shionne's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? All right, then let's go.
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Dahnans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything okay, Shionne? You seem a little...
Is something wrong?
No.
You mean since you
I am as prone to sentimentality. You too have it, doesn't that...
Well, it is, but I can't keep...
I see.
Darling?
Forgive me. Come back and speak to me.
We'll be going to Lenegis.
This must feel like... What was life on Lenegis like back?
Let's just say they called it treatment. But in...
You mean... that...
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. Day in, and the look that... Some existence, huh? I thought things couldn't get... Is it any wonder I survived. And that's when it hit...
I'm sorry.
No, it's...
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones done?
Are you crazy?
That's exactly... Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the It's that logic that's used to justify slavery. This struggle was... If we're doing...
A world...
Not just if we're going to... Now I see it.
A victor...
You bet...
Yeah, we can...
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can. That's all.
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it must be a...
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen.
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to...
It's a healing pod.
Oh, you don't say. That should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen?
No, I was just thinking Naori laid...
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? But that'd mean... you were inside for
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But...
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still,
What do you mean?
with the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far. Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right?
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. The world's bigger than just Menancia. If I've learned anything on this journey, and the one who brought me along...
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks.
I know.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh?
Is everyone about ready?
Before we do that, just...
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it,
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis is... Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual...
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right?
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yeah, as a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield...
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass. Denied the right, still.
Thanks for the warning.
come on, you...
On arts No, it's...
Jeez.
Wait a second. Are you...
I am...
Of course, separating as if such simplistic
So this red woman...
I would wait. Chances up.
If the Renaissance...
That red woman's got...
We're about to...
If there are... There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still on.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed.
I really hope we don't have to fight any...
So now what? We've come all this way on a... And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too.
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone.
Forbidden? What?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have... In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required...
And you think that source might have been the
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling whatever the ceremony's purpose, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, hiding something of that worth in the residential quarter.
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds.
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shionne's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone. Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renins. The capital city where Shionne and...
Thinking about what could be lurking out here is giving me the heebie-jeebies.
For such a loudmouth, you sure can be a worrywart at times.
Oh, I'm sorry. How stupid of me for wanting us to stay safe.
Would you two children stop squabbling? Or do you want everyone to know we're here?
So how many Renins actually live in this place?
I couldn't tell you exactly, though not as many as you might expect. Machines and Zeugles take care of most of the city's basic functions.
There's Zeugles out here too, huh? Sounds like we can't afford to let our guard down after all.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, I was prepared for a lot of things to look different. But this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dahna?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dahna participating in the crown contest? And these people!
So you haven't heard what happened on Dahna, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim, don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself, okay, Doe?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dahna.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually...
We need more information.
While we're at it, we can ask...
And don't forget about finding the way to the
Let's leave the talking to Shionne. We can't have a bunch of Dahnans poking their noses or...
Good idea.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its...
Right. Then we'll leave it. The Dahnans among us should...
What could be so important? It's worth It's just...
From how it
But why?
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their sight...
He's right. We need to...
This Forbidden Zone might be where...
You heard him.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration, to avoid all this chaos.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. No one knew about all this. It makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so, to what exactly?
Sorry, that probably sounded weird, huh?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're going, though.
Yeah, you're right, Shionne. I'm sure we will.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zeugles have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dahna.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skills pale in comparison.
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dahna during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dahna during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time. Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home, is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dahna competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renin, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent, which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth, that Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? Isn't Rena at least the same size as Dahna? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as come to think of it. I know nothing of the nature of... Shionne, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made of...
No, I have...
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what do you get?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself. No one but the Sovereign, that is.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one...
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule direct? What if something were to happen to the city?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. Alphen said he was forced into the role, but Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan.
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over thereafter. That individual is known as the Sovereign. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. 300 years later, we crossed paths with Volron, who also... That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign.
Do you think Volron was made sovereign for the same reason?
I can't say for sure.
But that would mean that 2 sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other... We never did see Volron's body back in Ganeth Her. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron... The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one...
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden.
Questions, and yet...
If the Forbidden Zone really is off-limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any...
Then it's decided.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section. Let's go find it!
With nobody left to run the show. I mean, there's...
But Dohalim, only current acting lords have power. Renan's...
Even if the other lords were still around, I doubt they'd be able to...
I wonder what they'd think if they were impulsive. Now that I think of it, aside from Dohalim, we know nothing.
Well, yeah, to us Dahnans, they were just enemies.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city?
It feels strange to imagine the...
Yeah.
If you're that curious about them, why not? Every lord in their household has their share of... And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dahna, which means...
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it. You have experience in that regard yourself, do you not?
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Dahnan city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too. Bonus points if you speak in a way no one can understand.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all. I'm just helping them along.
Hey! What's got into Alphen and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
Yes!
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them, too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
What?
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us? Dahnans.
This area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Pardon me.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right, too.
Ridiculous. Okay.
Seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganath Harros changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, so they tend to grow up fiercely competitive. But their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces, and nothing exemplifies that more than the Lords.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the Lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives doesn't mean...
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. They were individuals, just like the rest of us. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Rinwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Dahnan doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shionne and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust. As a fellow human being above all else.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfricht Milgras, the former Lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfricht whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you?
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest. Meaning each... In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, but if even the victors...
You and me both. Though we are Renan by blood, neither of us even...
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here?
Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dahna already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Dahnan rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
place is beautiful!
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renan sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dahna, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnagin. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnagin. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnagin and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagin and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagin had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagin was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Dahnans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shionne's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shionne. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen,
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways. You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer their assistance.
Have you guys checked your equipment lately?
Hey! Damn it! Lenegis soldiers!
Any way we can avoid fighting them?
That all depends on them. Whatever happens, be ready.
Well, so much for them not wanting to fight.
Oh! I am Lord Dohalim of Elda Menethia. I command you.
Threats to the city must be erased.
No. Have they been brainwashed too?
Brainwashed or not, if they want to fight, they got one. It's almost too strong.
Split it open!
Be my guest. I owe you one.
Shield and
Need to... Those soldiers seem different from the citizens we've come across so...
Yeah, they weren't big talkers, that's for...
They weren't in the least bit phased.
Indeed. They seem... And yet, traditionally, Lenegis hasn't been high on threats.
They're glazed.
I've never...
Maybe someone does...
Well, with the...
Look sharp! I'm not done! It's over! Orochi's fury!
Barely a blip on our radar.
That's far enough! Here goes! Thunderous devastation! Thunderous devastation!
As if the normal creepy crawlies aren't disgusting enough.
Try harder! Thunderous devastation! Here I come!
Do it!
Strike! Kisara! All yours, Kisara!
Nice. No scratches on my shield or my armor.
No choice! Bring him down! Orochi's fury! Next! Take this! Here goes!
I'm the true gunslinger around here.
You're mine! We're not finished!
Easy and snary to me.
Yeah! Look sharp! Lightning tiger blade!
Am I on a roll or what?
Well, look who's in a bright and shiny mood.
Right, here goes! You got it!
Make it rain! Here comes! Magic is out! In here!
Appreciate the help.
I'm only radiant! Here! Make it rain!
Lunar Rondo!
And again! Time to shine! I'm only getting started! I'll heal one!
Stand back. I'll trip it up.
Let's keep our eyes on the prize. Those soldiers don't seem to have any qualms about attacking on sight. Little help!
Slap the dust!
Here! In the wind!
Thunderous devastation!
Hurricane strike! Lightning strike! Power of flame!
Time to cross blade!
Lunar
Escape!
back into the air thrust!
I'm not done! Thunderous devastation!
Do it!
Kisara!
Commander of Heaven!
Phoenix Cyclone!
Nice. No scratches on my shield or my armor.
I won't forgive you!
Take this!
You're mine!
Tiger
Blade!
Now! Hear my call!
We did it!
Falling
Take
storm!
this!
Now!
Burning fury!
Glacial spear! Here's the
Plasma shock! Not a chance! Thunderous devastation!
Make it rain! Let's keep our eyes on the prize.
Take this! You're mine! Thunderstorm!
You won't bow now, then you leave me no choice!
Fire support! I'm not done!
A comfortable win.
Out of my way! Now you'll learn! I'm not done!
You think that shield will save you?
I see one, eh? We did it! Not again! I'm not done!
Do it!
Everybody okay?
We're all right, Alphen.
This must be it. The entrance to the Forbidden Zone.
But it's just a wall. How do we get through?
Whoa, we? I thought this was Sovereigns only.
Alphen.
Yes! It opened!
Interesting. If Alphen's presence still opens the way, it would seem the Sovereign of 3 centuries ago and now are considered one and the same.
What?
What the?
Alphen.
You again.
Tomorrow's the spirit channeling ceremony. We'll finally play our parts as the Sovereign and Maiden. How have you been feeling?
What am I sovereign of? Shuffled from lab to lab, always treated like an experiment. Whenever they look at me, all they see is a Dahnan. I don't even know what their precious ceremony's for. Let alone what they're going to force me to do as the Sovereign. Tell me, if we're both in the same boat, why do you seem so calm right now?
No choice. Becoming the Maiden's not something I wanted for myself. But they said Rena's prosperity depended on it. How could I say no after that?
Still, as a Renan, at least you got to decide. Good for you. Meanwhile, I was taken from my homeland. You aren't the captive one here.
It isn't right what they did to you, and I'm sorry for what it's worth. When this is over, I swear I'll help you get home. I can't do this alone. One more day.
How could I say no to that? It's not like I have any choice in the matter anyway. So, what's your name?
It's Naori. Naori Imaris. Try to remember this time.
You don't act like them. Like the other Renans, I mean. How come you treat me like a person?
Because you are. It's true we come from different worlds. But neither one of us asked to be here right now. In that sense, you and I are much the same. We couldn't do this. We wouldn't be able to talk to each other as people if we didn't see the humanity in each other. So I suppose the question you should be asking is, why wouldn't I treat you like one?
You're not like the others.
Maybe they're not like me.
Here's what we'll do. We give them their damn ceremony. You get me to Dahna. That'll be the end of it. I'm taking you at your word on this. I'm trusting you, not them. Naori.
What the hell just happened?
That vision. Did everyone else see it too?
That person Alphen was speaking to, she looked exactly like Shionne.
It was Naori. Naori Imaris. Isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right.
She really does look like Shionne. I'm beginning to see why Alphen was so confused.
That's all very well and fine, but what did we just witness exactly? It was too real to be a mere hallucination.
It was a conversation we had 300 years ago. The night before the ceremony.
You mean all of that really happened? We just saw an episode straight out of your past?
But how is that even possible? Unless... Could this be the Red Woman's handiwork too?
No, I don't think so.
Why not?
You guys didn't feel it? The moment the entrance opened, it was like a stream of Dahnan astral energy rushing over us.
I felt it too. And not for the first time either. It was the same sensation as back inside the wedge.
That would make sense. After all, vast amounts of Dahna's astral energy were being siphoned and sent up here to Lenegis. For all we know, perhaps we're close to the spot where all that energy was stored.
So you think it might have been the energy itself that was responsible for that vision we just saw? But how? And why?
We have no way of knowing. Maybe it's not even as deliberate as all that.
Shionne, you...
Yeah. It was all just... So that was my ancestor, huh?
Yeah, there certainly is a...
What about you?
Me?
Even putting aside the question of where that vision came from, reliving painful episodes from...
I can't just pretend like the past... Besides, if it helps us uncover the truth of what that ceremony really was...
Alphen.
That's not all. This whole time, we've been fighting to free Dahna from the Renans. But now, I'd like to liberate them too, if I can. Which is...
Whether you're on Dahna or somewhere else, you always stay the same. Not that I'm complaining. Come...
Nobody's here.
Stay sharp. After that last illusion, there's no telling what could happen in here.
Faria, how did you get in here?
Wait, something about her isn't right.
What's wrong with her?
Yeah, you're right.
But that's preposterous.
We can talk later.
What? I've never known Faria to go doodles like that before.
How about with a stone that looks suspiciously like a master sword?
Where did you get our hands on that?
First we handled the Zoogle, then we kept some answers. Thunderous devastation! Remote!
Astral energy!
Say no more!
You're mine! Tiger Sword! Orochi's Fury!
Piercing roar!
We got him on the run!
Don't get caught here!
Right. Still anyone's fight.
Here we go! On your toes, everyone!
Thunderous devastation! Thunderous devastation!
Law! Demon's descent!
Flashing Fang! Now it's just her!
Faria, can you hear me? Faria!
She's preparing another summoning!
The art she's casting is way too powerful to control. At this rate, her body won't be able to take much more.
Forgive me.
Man, I thought we were goners.
Everything okay?
Yes. She's only unconscious.
Not her. I meant you.
Shionne, please.
I can try, but I can't promise she'll be back to her real self when she wakes up.
We're not even supposed to be in here. Maybe it'd be better if we moved her to somewhere a little...
In that case...
I'll take her off your hands.
You? Avakir.
I was curious what you were up to, so I took the liberty. I overheard what you said about Tarnigan, about how he really died. I'm sorry, I had no idea.
And you believed me? What makes you...
I like to think I know you a little better than that, Dohalim. I'll take Faria. Leave her with me. I know better than to ask what you're up to. But whatever it is...
Thank you.
He seems like a good friend.
He hasn't changed. He never was one to stand out. Instead, he was always hanging back, worrying about everyone else. As for Faria, it's always the...
You don't seriously blame yourself for...
Somebody got to her, to strike back at me. Someone who knew me well enough to know that I'd hesitate. And the same goes for you as well. Neither you nor Faria would have lost loved ones.
You're wrong. Kelzelik was the one who killed my brother. As for Tarnigan, if it weren't for the crown contest, he'd still be alive. That and the whole damn... But that's why we're fighting.
Indeed. Ridding society of this blight.
You can't atone. I know it hurts to hear, but those people are dead. Forgiveness, accept...
So I just forget the heart?
No, the opposite, in fact. You remember. You never forget. You keep it in your heart, not for those already passed, but for those...
For those still alive.
Kisara's right. So long as we've still got breath in our bodies, we can make a difference in the lives of others. Lives being the
That's what living's all about. Punishing yourself for the past?
Only fixing the problem in its stead.
That's right. You have to...
Don't forget, we've still got a mystery to solve.
Shionne.
Huh?
Thank you. You have my deepest gratitude for what you did.
Glad to be of...
I'm glad we could stop Faria without hurting her.
You all did much for her as well. I'm most grateful.
Oh, shucks. We're on the same team, right?
Do you think Faria was really...
Certainly seen...
The same person who's
brainwashed.
Someone...
It does...
There's no...
by someone...
What is it, Rinwell? Do you hear something again?
Yeah. It's that voice.
The will of Dahna's astral energy.
What? There's so much astral energy. But where's it all coming from? It's almost like it's alive.
That was the spirit channeling ceremony just...
What the hell was that? It felt like everything was on the brink of...
Oblivion. It's the same vision as the one my thorns show me. A vision of impenetrable darkness that swallows...
An empty void. A nothing...
The visions of the apocalypse you've been seeing.
So, everything we just saw,
That's right. It was as if her innermost thoughts were speaking direct...
that power flowing into her, it reminds me of Shionne's thorns. If they're what's responsible...
Maybe my thorns are made from that same...
If that is the case, we just found the missing link between your thorns and what happened here. No, more than a link.
I've never felt astral energy so powerful.
If it's the same energy your thorns are made of, it must be dark astral energy, right? And isn't that...
Correct. Dark astral energy is possessed...
And when enough astral energy gathers together, it develops... If so, maybe that complete oblivion is exactly what the Renan astral energies will...
I don't know. Will can be a pretty...
But the will of Dahna is made up of astral energy too, right? I don't know, should we really be getting so involved with this thing?
Dahna's will would never want oblivion.
But you can't say that for...
Cut it out, you two. Squabbling over...
Let's keep moving. If it's Dahna's will showing us these memories, then I'm as clueless about its motives as any...
Shionne's right. All we can do... And I think they may be the kinds of truths I need to...
I'm sorry about what I said earlier.
Finally, we begin...